And eventually, as they keep doing it, it becomes more and more flexible. They can say different things. I have children who start with just say hi. The
Mm.
end. But eventually they learn, oh, I can say good morning. I can say hello. What's
Yeah.
going on? See,
Yeah.
they eventually they pick up, oh, the same category, different words, same usage. Let's try it. And that's how they build up that ability to
Yeah.
interact.
This podcast shares personal stories and professional insights, but it's not a substitute for medical advice or therapy. If you're looking for support, do speak to someone qualified and trained in child development or special needs care. You'll find the full disclaimer on the screen and in the show note.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Adapting Together. Adapting Together podcast is a podcast to empower, support, and inspire parents and caregivers with neurodivergent children. I'm Xin Yi. I'll be co-hosting this episode together with Kevin. So before I introduce the guest today, I think to start, I want to share a quick observation from a school visit that I've been recently. So I remember going into the classroom. A majority of the children are aware that a new face came in. The majority of the kids will look up and then notice that I am new and I went into the classroom, except for my little client. So he really stood out when I had to observe him together with all of his classmates. So I remember seeing like a lot of the children were just naturally interacting, like talking to each other, taking turns. But my client really stood out in a way like, he was mostly focusing on his own things. That day when I went in, he is really looking at that flashcard that he likes. So he's not really responding to the friends or the teachers when people ask him questions. So time like this really reminded me that social skills don't just happen automatically for every child, especially for some children who have autism. So, and that would leads to our discussion today. Today we have our speech therapist Emma today with us. Welcome Emma to our podcast.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah,
Come
it's really
again,
good to see
Emma.
you again. So today, just like the introduction, today discussion will be talking about social skills. What are some of the social development, some early signs, and also we want to talk about what are some of the practical ways that parents or teachers can do to support our children who has needs in terms of social development. Right. Emma, to start us off, how would you define social skills and social development?
So I think this question come about because most of our children on the spectrum, they will definitely have this area of needs. And what are we talking about is actually how it look like. It looks like a very, I would say, a very different way of connecting with another person. So we in a very simplified way, we can always look at a few areas like nonverbal communication, like eye contact, body language. And the second area that we usually talk about is social emotional reciprocity. That just means back and forth in not just games, but we're talking about conversation, knowing when to come in, when to stop, and all these are what we call social emotional reciprocity. And thirdly, we will actually look at how to develop and maintain a relationship. So it's not just at the moment of talking to another person or interacting with another person, but we also talk about how to, in the long run, keep a relationship going.
Friendships?
So yeah, friendship is one of those relationships, or your relationship with parents, or even with, eventually when they grow up having a romantic relationship. All these things are the areas social skills we are looking at. And yeah, I would say that some early signs of another question that you're asking is early signs of social
Yeah,
skill
yeah, yeah.
challenges, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, we can see it from very, very young. So I will start from the youngest. I remember one of my clients' parents told me that, you know what? I thought my child is a very easy kid. He doesn't cry unless he's really uncomfortable or, it's a really quiet baby. I'm not saying that all quiet babies are children of spectrum, but I'm saying that one observation is that the child doesn't have many other reasons to communicate, and thus the social interaction when they are at the baby stage, it's very restricted to their very severe needs, but not for other wider purposes like just showing pleasure, hoping for a reciprocal smile, or gaining your attention for social reasons, like just want to connect. So some parents will describe as a feeling of, I don't always feel very genuinely loved. I feel like I'm just a helper when I need and needed, I'm called. If I'm not needed, he doesn't care about me. So that's one yeah, so that's one early signs of it, like super early signs. But otherwise, as you have described in your observation, is that it's almost it's very obvious, I guess, is that this person was stood up among everyone else because the person cannot fully, we say not sengmok, in
Yeah.
Cantonese way. It's like someone's talking to you, but I don't really care. I just want to do my own thing. It looks like that. And
Mm,
that's why in Chinese they call autism 自闭症, right? 自闭 as in like enclosed to his own world
yeah.
situation. Yeah. So I think that's what a lot of people understand about
Mm,
social skills among the autism children. But I do want to note that is actually a lot of time they are still very interested with people, but it's just that they might not have the mind space to process about you as a person and what you're saying when they're already very overwhelmed by the other needs, which is like very different sensory needs. So, for example, in the classroom, it's so noisy and so many people to interact with. So a lot of our children on the spectrum would actually shut it down, that area of needs. I mean, the social skills, the requirement to build on their social skills or relate to other people. It's just jing jing, I don't care. I'm gonna build a room around me and be hyper focused about what I like that brings me comfort. That's how they are still coping with their situation. And sometimes, a lot of time, is that they don't have that mind space to actually process the need of social connection. So I hope that helps.
Right, Emma. Thanks for sharing about some of the very important early signs since a baby. So now we know that when a baby doesn't cry as much, it can be one thing to look into it. But I'm also thinking, right, about the term joint attention. It is so commonly used when coming to explaining about social interaction. Could you explain to our audience what actually is joint attention?
Right. Actually, joint attention is almost like a more advanced level of the use of eye contact. So a lot of our parents will always, the first thing they'll come to seek help is because my children is not looking at me. They don't, and we always see note that comes saying poor eye contact. So um, I think it is very related. That's why I thought I would just bring up because I feel like eye contact seems to be a more common term that our community understands compared to joint attention. Yeah, so poor contact is always being mentioned because a child's not looking or they seems to not pay attention to you when they talk. And that's partly actually because of joint attention. So let's go to joint attention now. Joint attention actually means the ability to actually join our attention together. That means if Xin Yi is holding a ball and she's looking at it, saying, look. So as a person with joint attention, I will look at Xin Yi's eyes looking towards the ball and realize that, oh, she wants me to look at the ball and she wants both our attention to be joined on this ball. So
Mm,
in a simple way, that is what joint attention is. And
meaning
it is, yeah,
participating or looking at one's common things, one things, or can be an activity, can be one.
yeah. So and the important thing is that the person will not just look at the thing or look at the activity, but actually will refer back to the person involved and check out if that person is still talking about it, or if that person is in giving other important message from their overall non-verbal expression, and also their words, if their words are still talking about that thing, and being able to connect to each other while looking at a common object and topic is what joint attention is all about.
Sounds so complicated when you break it down. Right? It's really not just I look at you. It's like so many connected in that moment. It can be a brief moment, but
Yeah, and I think one key thing is the understanding. To have joint attention is to have the understanding that we can both share a thought. So it is a very tricky area for children on the spectrum because of something called theory of mind. Is getting a bit digging down the rabbit hole now, but it is such an important fundamental ideas and actually skills that build social skills. So I have no choice, I have to go there. And what is it? I think a lot of us have heard of it. I think that is one key thing that we need to know what's going on to then help us to understand why is it that our children have difficulty with joint attention? It's because the child, every one of us have theory of mind. That means I understand that Xin Yi can have different thoughts than me. We may not always be on the same page. So I have to infer or guess what Xin Yi is thinking or Kevin's thinking based on what I see on your surface and based on what you say and based on the context and the situation we are in. So simple joint attention moment would be like if I say kick it during recess, and most of us will immediately think of what am I asking the person to kick, given that it's recess time and then they're at the field. When I say, hey, kick it, what do you think am I talking about? Oh, am I? Yes,
Not
kicking a
rabbit.
ball. That's because why I would think that Kevin will know is because I know that Kevin and I has a common experience of recess, and you and I know that children play balls during recess, and then so with that, because I know what you know, so I can say this and wait for you to complete the sentence, and I know that you will be able to. Yeah, so because I can read your perspective and you can also read my perspective, thinking, what is she thinking about when she say it? So that is what joint theory of mind is, and it then helps a child to be able to have joint attention and be able to build on other social skills.
I was just thinking, could it also be that maybe a child who is on the spectrum, they are more naturally more paying more attention to object than a person, and we are competing with their attention, and therefore it's a little bit challenging to have the joint attention as well.
That is a perfect place to talk about this. And you know what? I think that's one cool thing about our children on the spectrum is that they perceive the world very differently than neurotypical individuals. So for us, like for example, now I look at Kevin's picture, I'm not looking at the curtain behind him, but I'm looking at Kevin's eyes first and then his mouth, his lips area, because that gives me social information. But people on the spectrum, interestingly, they will scan you like a paper, like a printer. They'll print out this image in their head. They'll look at, oh, what I see lines behind you that must be curtain. I see lights above you. I see a square. Ooh, that's a perfect 90-degree rectangle behind you. You know, like all these interesting
Exactly.
little thoughts come about. And then
Yeah,
along with that, oh, the temperature. Oh, the aircon sound. Oh, the lights. Wait a minute, my tag is interfering with me. You see, there's too many things going on. So yeah, all these things affects how the person can then pay attention to another communication partner. is really interesting. And I think because of their way of perceiving the world is so different, to learn social skills is very different for them as well. It doesn't come as innately, like we naturally know what to look at in a page with a main character. We'll look at main character first and then the background. But even to distinguish which information is more important, socially speaking, and which is actually peripheral, this is actually also a teaching process and learning process for our children on the spectrum. It's such a big thing.
So this is what I learned also with my son. It's not easy to get his attention. He's busy all the time, but just with anything he wants to be busy with, and calling him from young doesn't get a response. So that was those moments that something's a little bit different as a feeling for parents. But because
Yeah,
we were also first time parents and we just didn't really think too much into it, uh, I really wish I learned all these things much earlier. But we are on the path we are supposed to on, so no point thinking about I hope what I wish. So seeing that joint attention is something rather to me is like a very rare commodity for people who are on the spectrum. It's like we are asking a lot from them to give us their attention because it's so precious. Uh, uh, is it also right to say that joint attention is also very important or foundational in allowing or supporting them to learn new things and also to develop as well?
definitely, definitely. So I think that is also why for them to learn language is so difficult. Because as Kevin said, to get the attention itself is hard because a lot of time they are very busy in their own mind because the sound in their mind, what their mind is doing, and then have to swap to your mind what you want him to think about. It's so many steps, so many mini steps to get there. So a lot of time for us, it is going into their world first and then getting them to my world. So it's almost like one key thing actually in teaching social skills or language for children on the spectrum is very much interest oriented. So let's say if the person is really into, what is your son into, Kevin? What's his
He
go-to?
now he into something that can do rotation or swing. Recently is zip.
Nice. So yeah, zip. Let's take zip. Okay, I love the specificity of it. Yeah, let's say zip. Okay, he just zip 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 zip. You call him, cannot answer you, right? Zip 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 zip. So
But
it'll be
he's not zipping the zip. He just take the zip and just left
flick
right
it
with
left
the
and
zip.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually, I think he's enjoying the predictability of that sound and actually the look of it. Looks like a pendulum going left, right, right? Yeah,
Yes.
so for me to bring him to try out some social skills and join attention, okay, it's easier for me to come from my side to join in his attention than having him to get out of his zip world to come to my, let's say I want him to look at my apple, let's say, and look at my apple because apple is really not his interest at this moment. It's so tricky. So because of that, I really recommend interest-based listening for children on the spectrum. It's much
Yeah.
easier.
So this remind me of something we always say to people. Like before you receive, you have to learn to give. And to gain something, you have to give something. So to receive their attention, we have to learn to how to give them the attention that they are already into it. So I
Yeah.
think the more that's where the more we give, the more it's likely that we will receive, but it's their attention that we want, right?
Yeah, and I think in social skills, a lot of time, one of the basic foundational skills that we talk about is turn taking. So let's say how to use that zip for turn taking. It could be he flick it to the right, and then your turn to flick it to the left. Then he gets a turn to flick it to the right, and then you flick it to the left. And then sometimes we do things like, oh, we block in between, and then that person gets so frustrated. Look at you, hey, what are you doing at my zip? hey, we got a joint attention of Zip, and he's looking at you for information. What's wrong with you? Why did you block my Zip? That is a social moment. So we really like all this as a entry point to learn simple foundational subset of skills for social skills development, which is turn taking or joint attention. And we can even get some words into it, left, right. That could be a word. And
Open
that
and
all then
close.
support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Support the social skills development. Interesting,
I
eh?
must add that.
Tiny things like that.
I just want to add that in the very beginning, right, it all feels so difficult for the parents, at least for me, because I have to be thinking, how can I capitalize on the things he like to turn into something, the opportunity to teach something or to communicate something. And because it's all like I say just now, the attention is very rare, very precious. So I think I hit a lot more walls than I get the result. So it can be disheartening also for parents sometimes that we are so tired. Then it's like what you said earlier in the beginning, you only know that I exist when you need me. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm a tool man, like a spanner. When you need it, then you use it. When you need hammer, you get a hammer. Other than that, you just keep it aside.
You know what? The comforting thing is that it's not that they don't love you. It's that this is how their world functions. And
Mm.
uh I think one key thing that I learned is that when we're trying to teach social skills, we must understand that we also don't understand how their world of social skill works. So it's what we call double empathy problem. Like I don't fully get the individual with on the spectrum how they feel about socializing, and they also don't understand why do we keep asking them to socialize. So you see, it's a
Mm.
both world thing. So when we teach social skills, we actually need to eventually understand why do they not want to, like, let's say, play with a friend. And when we understand that, we understand where he's coming from, like, oh, maybe that friend is so loud, or the friend, like sharing is so hard because if I give my toy to that friend, he's not gonna play the way I want him to play. And
Mm.
for him, that is unsafe. So when we understand that is making socializing tricky for our kid, it will be very helpful to get him to play with another kid in a very structured situation, like a game, like a very specific card game or a very specific board game, a very black and white kind of interaction is a lot more favorable than just an open, just play with another friend, go to playground, play with him. Oh, that is way too hard. That's too abstract in a way. Yeah. So that's
Understand.
just a little, yeah, important little tips to share.
That's a good one. Let us start with a structured way of playing, so that both us and the children can ease into the activity called playing, and maybe that will help build up more joy and attention along the process. Okay. Uh, then Emma, just curious, right? Is there anything like a very important or core social skills that children will need to have or develop?
Yeah, I think in short is a few. One is we always talk about sharing. He doesn't
Mm.
want to share. So that's one thing, like sharing, taking turns, cooperation. This is almost a set of skill set, which is actually working with another person. Because practically, I think in the long run, vocationally, that's what we need the person to be able to work with other people and to connect. So that's one area. And secondly is actually the joint attention side of thing, which is communication skills of listening actively, following instructions, identifying nonverbal communication. All this, must be able to listen and think what the other person is thinking about and then give a reciprocal response. And thirdly is actually something we haven't really mentioned, which is emotional and interpersonal skills. So able to feel what you feel and you feel what I feel. And I realize that what I am actually feeling is a particular emotion. It's actually very difficult for children on the spectrum. They know that there's a big feeling in them and then it escalates to a meltdown maybe. And
Yeah.
then that also interferes a lot with working with other people. So the ability to to regulate their own emotion is one thing, being able to empathize is one thing, the self-control, and how to then um, resolve conflict within themselves and with other people. See, all these are some of the core areas that we talk about in developing core social skills for the children.
Right. Thanks, Emma, for explaining all the very important social skills that children will eventually or typically need to develop. And I think there's a misconception also. Many parents will have the thoughts that the children will know automatically will develop all these social skills if I send them to a preschool. Then, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, yeah, this is a very hot response. A lot of time we see children, no eye contact, send preschool, no friend, go preschool, then got friend. Wow, the answer is actually, well, it's a yes and no. It's much more complicated than that. As you see, there's so many areas they are building blocks of social skills. If we just straight away, I think what happened is that preschool is, you can think of it like a place that provide opportunity for one to socialize outside of house, right? You have different interaction and experiences in a preschool compared to a very predictable home setting. So in a way, preschool is going to be helpful in providing all these opportunities. But the
Yeah.
situation here is that our children who already struggle interacting and socializing at home, if you throw them to preschool, it's gonna be the same. And they will equally needing, if not more, needing more support to actually maneuver the world of social skills, because there are new people that they're meeting. They don't know, they have no foreknowledge of the person, and they're actually building from scratch how to interact with these different individuals. And you know what? Actually, they are needing more tools and mental framework to then understand what the other person is thinking and how to then interact with their friend. So it's almost like throwing a child to a sea without teaching them how to swim. If you just straight away throw it into a preschool thinking that it will solve all the problem, I would say it doesn't. We actually need to give them swimming class first and teach them how to at least use flotation devices. They don't know how to swim, it's fine. But I give you some floaties, wear your PFDs, your personal floating device, life jacket, at least you float. So we need to first give all these adapting skills and actually training or teaching them how to identify other people's feelings and how do you tell them how you feel about other people, and even realizing that other people can have different thoughts, you see. So all these things have to be taught before they are sent to preschool, um, or even when they go to preschool. As parents, I would say you have such huge roles to just support by role playing, by reading books and books about um, going to school so that they don't get a meltdown every day in school, because that's what I heard from some parents is that when they sent to preschool, they got the kid got rejected, like and then sent back home because the child is out of control or
Yeah.
not.
To
Yeah,
overwhelm.
yeah,
Yeah.
too overwhelmed. And some kid, they don't get sent home, but what happened is they still was alone in preschool when we go school visits and realize, hey, this kid is also still left alone when they're in preschool. They're just in their own world in a preschool instead of in their own world at home. We wish to believe that he has more that is gaining social skills by being in preschool, but sometimes the reality is being a 1:8, 1:9 adult kid ratio, they don't always get that attention that they need to guide them to socialize. So at the end of the day, it's just that sometimes we have wishful thinking that we hope our kid is getting what they need to build social skills. Just when we don't see it, we don't see the child being alone, then we thought that he's not alone. But It's
Mm,
tricky, you see. You won't know because you're not there, ma. So at the end, the teacher will say, "Oh, he's doing fine because he's not crying." You see? So some of the non-crying type of reaction could be actually the child is just like what we say, the shutdown one. They just still function in school, still doing what he wants, not interfering with other people's learning. And a lot of time this won't get reported to parents because as long as it's not interfering in other people's learning experience,
yeah.
you're welcome to just do whatever you want. But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that the child is then um coping well
Yeah.
or actually learning socially.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will need actually. I think Xin Yi would understand that sometimes when we send they engage a personal learning assistant, and they get that live updates of what should you do right now. How
Yeah.
your friend is feeling sad because you took that pencil away. What can we do right now? That someone that's translating this unseen social language to our children.
Mm.
Then the child then realized, oh, I think that I'm making that person upset. I see. So what is she thinking? What is she wanting from me? So we say, okay, you can give it back to the person, or you can say, can you lend this to me for 1 minute and set a timer, give it back after 1 minute. So things like that, you see? So then that would be a totally different preschool socializing experience.
Yeah.
So
I would
yeah.
sometimes the role is also not just supporting that kid. Sometimes it's also translating the needs to the peers. Like in a preschool, we also they are still children. They are also young children.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to also understand why you have an additional teacher with you. And sometimes I think the role is also important to coordinate, like I speak, to make identify a peer for him, and then so that there's just more opportunity to learn from peers lah. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of time I think teachers are trying their best to do this. They find
But
a buddy, that sign a buddy, and
yeah,
I believe a lot of teachers are doing it great job out there.
mm,
So don't get me wrong, I'm just trying to show that they actually do need that level of support. If you're talking about, I mean, children with more intense
yeah,
needs to develop in this area.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do agree with Emma. When a child is not ready, it might also bring in more adverse effect when we really
Yeah.
decide to put them in a in a in a pool, like you say, without giving any support. Mm,
Yeah.
I
So
think
I
this has a lot to
think.
do with the parents hoping that okay, what is lacking is interaction, and then maybe it's because there's a lack of time spent with similar age peers. So yeah, kindergarten is just the right place to have a lot of
mm,
children doing same thing together, some more with teacher. So we have a mindset that okay lah, let's just send him there, the exposure is there. So if you listen to everyone speak Spanish, eventually you should be able to speak a little bit of Spanish. So I think that's the kind of expectation parents have.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think if that's a neurotypically developing children, I think that is something natural that would happen because they already have that joint attention skills developed when they were younger. They
And
already
can
have that
copy.
theory of mind. Yeah, they can see what to copy instead of just don't know what to look at. It's assumption that they will immediately copy, but actually they need to taught to copy. So that's what some of the social skills teaching programs are actually doing. That we actually have to teach. Let's say we talk about one. There are a couple of that out there, but some names. I can name some like social thinking approaches. We have peers program, and there are many other social skills teaching programs. I think we all can search it out, and a lot of that is actually working on making the unseen social rules seen. For example, what to look at. Then we will actually list down rules like, you know, uh, these are friends and they are people that we talk to. And then we talk about, how do you know everybody have a thought? We actually have to say, so like person A is thinking about apple, person B is thinking about banana. to let each other know that you're thinking about apple, you need to say, I'm thinking about apple. And then the other person say, oh, that person is thinking differently than me. So you see, we actually have to spell out every single thing of social situation for our
Yeah.
children to then realize all this we assumed that the child should already know stuff. It doesn't. So that's what all these programs are trying to do, is to make the unseen seen, the not the abstract to be concrete, and that makes social skills almost like a grammar to be taught. It's like how we learn foreign language. I learned how Kevin said Spanish, right? You will be in Spanish, speak Spanish. It's because you eventually see the rules yourself. But now, because I think it's almost like that, I mean, you go Spanish, you straight away learn Spanish. It's much easier when you're a child, when you're still, your brain is still, very flexible, still doing it. But as an adult, I need my textbook, man. Give me my textbook. So it's almost like that for children on the spectrum. They will say, give me a textbook, give me a textbook of how do I talk to the person. So they almost actually need that, and then practice what the textbooks say. And then it will make sense in their head. They'll be like, oh, I see. So when I see friend, I say hi. And eventually, as they keep doing it, it becomes more and more flexible. They can say different things. I have children who start with just say hi. The end. But eventually they learn, oh, I can say good morning. I can say hello. What's going on? See, they eventually they pick up, oh, the same category, different words, same usage. Let's try it. And that's how they eventually build up that ability to interact.
Yeah. So I think structured teaching is, I think, almost similar, like how we want to teach language or even academic skills. Like,
Yeah.
to break it down smaller. If you cannot do like a big addition with big numbers, then it's start with small step. So for social skill, is also just another area that we always overlook, that we can have a very structured teaching before putting them in a really natural environment.
Yeah. So that would be I would say the scaffolding, like buildings like that, right? The scaffolding that we can do for them. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Make it very clear. It's very explicit.
Right.
Speak
Right.
the hidden minds. That's how I'll put it. So yeah, I'm thinking as parents, I think this feels very far from them. They almost can feel like, oh, so I must pick up this program, otherwise I cannot do anything. Would you feel like that, Kevin?
Times, yeah, because
Sorry.
uh, it's like I don't feel like I don't know. So if I don't know and I need to know, I have to learn from somewhere or learn from something.
Mm,
So instead of going to watch YouTube or learn from anyone, might as well I find someone who can properly share the right thing, evidence based up more. So
Mm,
that's how I feel. But of course, there are
right.
people who feel like this is we in Mandarin we call 智慧税. It's like a tax or knowledge and wisdom, but it's not really a necessary one. But if it makes me feel better, it makes me feel more confident and peaceful, then
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to feel comfortable spending any money for this kind of thing in return.
Yeah, I think all these are very, very helpful thing. And I just want to point out that actually parents can do so many things also. One little one that I can mention is actually just really speak up your mind. That will help our children to realize what we are thinking. And it gives a lot of vocabulary that they won't get other than those on the books or what they see on YouTube. So for example, let's say one I'm like for example, I'm a stay-home mom right now. When my kid is
mm,
looking at me doing things and I'm getting frustrated because um the pot is not properly, I mean my fried rice is not properly cooked because my pot is too hot. It's like burning. So she see me like "Ah!" So what a helpful thing that as parents we can do is actually just say, oh no, it's burning. I'm so overwhelmed, it's very weird, but you just imagine that you have to translate this social language to your child by just mentioning easy 3 things. What you see, what you feel, therefore what should you do? So it's just what I see, what I feel, what should I do? So I would say, oh no, I see my pot is burning. How I feel? I feel so anxious about it. It's gonna cause a fire. What should I do? Okay, let me get some. I need to solve this problem. Let me just get some water and pour on it. Shala. I'm feeling so much better. We are safe now. So it's like you feel like he's not listening, but he is needing so much of this to then see how does a person actually think in different situations. So when he sees that situation next time, he knows, oh, that person was feeling like my dad. He was so anxious right now and he needs a solution. Solution means take some water, pour it, he will feel better from there. See? So by just narrating what happened every day, it makes a lot of it's such good input for our children for the sake of in a social context, yeah. Yeah.
That's a good idea. So just share or tell out, speak out like what we see,
What we
how we
feel.
feel, and what we want to do next.
Yeah.
Just 3
And
steps.
and what you feel is so important because it's so abstract, and a lot of time the difficulty to interact with others and work with other people is actually the child's difficulty in identifying other people's thoughts and feelings. And when we model a lot of our thoughts and feelings in front of him, then it gives him a lot of framework actually, like, okay, situation A means situation and means this feeling, and then some possible solution are these. Then it gives a lot of calmness to the child by giving all this predictability, I reckon. Yeah.
Emotions are so hard to teach because it's so complicated. Sometimes if talking out also, I'm thinking like teaching emotion is also very abstract. Sometimes you want to do structured teaching. Some you may agree to this, like with just that picture. Sometimes it's just so hard to tell from a picture. Like, how can I teach my kid to learn just more emotions, what other than just happy and sad? Right?
Yeah, a lot of time we are just stuck with the child is happy, that person's sad, that's angry.
Yeah.
And when we come to lonely, there's so many other feelings, you see. There's lonely, overwhelmed,
Confused, like yeah,
confused. You put question mark, they're like, there is a question mark. In real life, there's no question mark on my head. You see? So
yeah,
that's why I think that everyday exposure of seeing the adult or seeing a trusted adult saying out all these feelings makes a whole lot more sense. It becomes visible, becomes a moving
I
picture
agree. Yeah,
than a flashcard, right?
yeah,
Yeah. But flashcard is helpful. At least they learn the big ones, the easy ones, the visible ones. There's
yeah,
place for it. Yeah.
agree.
And
I mean,
and the
totally.
kind of
Yeah,
the kind of flashcard that I kind of think that actually helps quite a bit are cards with situation on it instead of just an emoji, but
yeah, yeah,
actually it's like a happy child in a birthday party, let's say, or a sad child next to a broken bike or something like that. Then we can do a lot of what we call inferring, which is actually making a guess. What's going on here? Why is this person feeling so sad? Oh, looks like he has a problem. What can we do with that problem? 3 possible solutions, please. So these are some of the therapeutic activities that we do in order to build that muscles of theory of mind, to make guesses, make social guesses, which is very important because in a social context, you see a friend. How do I know this is a friendly friend that want to play with me? I see a lonely person holding a car and looking around. Okay, I think he's looking for a friend. See, this is inferring, right? Yeah. Then that child say, okay, I will go and approach this person and play. Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing. And one thing I realized, because my child has just been enrolled to a new preschool, that's when I realized, oh, he's really practicing all these social skills. And I think giving that space for the child to just observe first is also very important. So in situation, if you set up a play date for your child with a friend and your child is not playing with a friend for the first time, I would just like to say, don't give up. Just try another time. Maybe he's still at the stage where he's just feeling very overwhelmed and he's trying to observe and see who is this person? What does he like to do? Why is he here? Does my mom know that this person is my house right now? Yeah, and then sometimes after the second time, third meet out, that's when they started to actually approach and connect. Yeah, just give a lot of opportunity is also another very important
Way.
way to do it. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Don't be
How about
discouraged.
siblings?
Work hard to manufacture the opportunity for them because
Yeah.
it's like muscle. You say muscle training like that. You need more iteration to build it up. Just how it
Yeah.
is.
And also make it fun, I would say, like make it meaningful and fun. And that makes the brain wire it in much faster. So let's say if a child is very into let's say flags. I have a child that's into flags. Then we do a board game. I mean, there are many flags game out there, and then we play with other friends. And he gets into a role of like providing information, let's say. It's like, Papua New Guinea. I'm like, oh, I don't know a thing about Papua New Guinea. But he knows, right? He can be the, like the special helpline that when your other friend is struggling, he's like, go and ask him. Go and ask him. Then he's like very eager to be asked. And then learning to don't say until you're asked, because in this game, your role is not to steer it. I know. Then that is also not working very well in a group. So then putting them in such a situation where they are very honored, their interest is very glorified, and then they're enjoying so much of like, oh my goodness, I know my role in this interaction. And that gives a lot of security. In the end of the day, this then builds that process of learning how to communicate and interact with other people. Yeah, it's fun, and then it's meaningful for that person because it's his interest, and then that learning will stick. Yeah, they make it way faster.
When you're saying that, I'm thinking one of the client who will answer every question in the classroom, even though the teacher doesn't call his name. So just now I was thinking about about that scenario. So we have to teach him that you don't answer all, and because the teacher didn't call out your name, you have to wait. Like all these little social skills. He can respond to the question, but at
Yeah.
at an inappropriate
But
time.
but it's that hidden rule, right? These are hidden
Yeah,
rules of social
yeah,
situation, you see.
correct.
Kevin
Yeah,
knows, I know I shouldn't answer because the teacher didn't call me and I already answered 3 times. So give other people a chance is
yeah,
such a it
yeah,
has to be taught, you see. You have to be saying
yeah,
like, oh, the teacher is actually hoping other children will give some response so that the teacher know they know or not. Then oh, okay. So how many times can I answer? 3. Okay, fine. I'll answer 3 and shut up.
Got quota.
Yeah, give quota. You see, these are all making the hidden social rules explicit. This is
yeah.
the way to do for them. Yeah.
This sounds like, a group of friends go to karaoke and then one of the person will always hold the mic. Every song also this person would participate.
Yeah,
That's
they're
not a
not
good way.
so fun lor. Like that. You have to say, you want to play with your friends right here. You want them to feel fun, go to Chongqing with you, right? So must take turns. See? So when they realize, oh, okay, the person actually wants to try, then the person will say, you didn't say also if you want to say. But the problem is, paiseh ma, we all have to like, sing mok, have a look. Oh, the person actually want to sing that, like that didn't say, but we never get a chance for people to tell. So yeah, so all this have to be told. So sometimes actually helpful, another helpful thing, and that make me think is actually helpful to actually educate those people around to be explicit as well. Like telling the parents to actually say, I have something to say, give me 2 minutes, and then get a turn to talk. And then, okay, now you can talk. See? Or educating the friends how to help him to work with him. Like, oh, if you need his attention, you gotta call him and tap him and say, I'm talking to you. Instead of just, where's the eraser? Where's the eraser? But the friend ignored this other friend. Because our dear children on the spectrum didn't realize that they're being spoken to, even though you're the only person sitting next to him. See?
Just like a
So,
noise to them.
yeah, so they need to be taught. Yeah. So that boils down to, I think one big thing, I think, especially for very young children, parents might think these are these are skill sets very far away from them, but it's actually very important. But the foundational skills for all the social skills, a lot of time it actually boils down to language. Because if a child doesn't have that language to support that understanding, then it's very hard for them to access this social skills textbook teaching because it's not innate. But a lot of, children on the spectrum really struggles with that. But at that stage of life, I think we have to come into this understanding role of advocating for our children, saying, oh, that actually doesn't mean to be mean to you or not giving you a chance, but he just still learning how other people feel when he doesn't take turn. So we need to help him to know how you feel. When he doesn't take turn with you, you just tell him, I'm feeling upset and left out because you didn't give me a turn. So being able to giving that coaching role to their friends or coaching role to their other caregiver will then really I would say it bridges the gap for both worlds. That understanding comes about for both parties. So I think that's also one very important thing. And as parents, I think we don't have to be very discouraged when our child's language is still on the way. They still learn a lot by looking at us. So just keep showing and it will eventually make sense.
I think what you say is very important because most of the time, I suppose, adults or parents, we want the children who are neurodivergent to be like us and do things that we consider as normal. But we never really think that what they are doing and being themselves at this moment is actually a normal so to them.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's nothing to say that what we do is the only rule. And that's why it's, neurodiversity.
And that reminds me, I have one teenage client who came to my session and we learned about social skills together. But at the last 10 minutes, I usually just give him to do whatever he wants to do, which is he actually just wants to sit down and look at a toy. And even though that is not socially, you know, acceptable usually, but when we respect their world of social rules, you get the equal respect when you need them to participate back. So I would also say that even though we want to create as many opportunities for them to socialize, we also need to give them space to decompress and actually be themselves and enjoy their own thoughts uninterrupted. When they have that space, they are going to be more ready to join you in your space. Let's put it
Just like
that way.
charging like that, right? And we always
Yeah.
say we want our me time. So I think they also need their me time.
And the problem is sometimes as parents, we feel a bit sad, like why he doesn't play other people, but he needs that time to be with himself. And as long as he's safe and he's secure, I think that is something that we can allow and give. It won't impact social skills. Let's put it that way. I think the fear is that what if that 1 hour of him being himself is not helping his social skills. But we need that child to be regulated to be able to then try this very hard thing called social skills. So it works both ways. So that is something that I wish to advocate for them, the neurodiverse children, is that yeah, just sometimes that norm for you is not norm to them, and their norm and their way to socialize, which is to have some time with themselves or share with you their topic of interest, give them the space. There's another type of children of neurodivergent children, which is they just keep talking about their topic of interest.
Yeah.
And there's another way. And I get like, okay, I'm listening to this koi fish for the fifth time of different patterns. I don't really care, but I'll give you 5 minutes to tell whatever you want about koi. And then it's my turn, okay? Then he's very happy. You see? That's another form of giving space. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Emma, for sharing so many things. I think there are some things that it reminds me of my own journey back then, and a lot more things that you touch on or share could be a very good reference for me for the next few years, maybe. So it's like a light guiding me, like, okay, this is what I can do, this is what I can remind myself. The truth is, I suppose, social skill or social intelligence or action is something that is quite stand out as a different element for children who are on the spectrum. I think the core to the autism itself is that one element is social. What's the correct word to say? I don't know, but it's just something related to relationship and social interaction is already if we are on the starting line, this already a few steps behind neurotypical people. So and to learn and to build quality relationship, somehow we need to help them to develop social skill or social capital. Not sure
Hmm.
whether this is correct way to put it, but this is how I can understand as a parent. And therefore, like what you shared earlier, Emma, if we think that this is helpful, but just expose them without preparation may not also be a very good way. We have a good intention, but skipping a few steps may actually cause harm than giving the result that we all hope to see. It's like it's not magic, so it won't happen overnight. And we need to also have a series of staircase before we get there. So just like learning swimming, you don't throw the child to the pool immediately. Exposing to other children may be helpful, but we still have to do a few preparation steps well so that it doesn't backfire. So I hope that listener can also pick up some points and tips from this episode. Like I got a few for myself. Maybe when I listen back again, I'll pick up more. And when I edit, replaying multiple times, I'll pick up more, hopefully. So now, as a summary, just remember if you want to teach more in terms of emotional side, you can share with the children like what do you see and how do you feel, and the next one is to ask the question, what should I do now? So it all help them to be more ready in detecting or receiving the social cues that we are sharing out and whatnot, and hopefully that will help with the joint attention over the course of the journey. And with that, I think we are ending this episode, and I really thank you again, Emma, for dialing in. You are from the future, a few hours ahead of us, and it's quite late for you now already. So appreciate your sharing and your everything that you have done for us. This is the third time we see you on the show, and I'm not sure whether you are still keen to have another comeback or not.
As long as the information shared is helpful and upbuilding, I'm more than happy to just be part of your journey. It's never easy, and I really admire all the parents with all the superstars. We call them superstars. Yeah. So yeah, whatever I know that is useful. Feel free to just
Thank you so
yeah
much,
pass
Emma.
me around. And so you're not sick of me yet.
We are so glad to have you. Yeah.
So many things to learn from you. And of course, when during this episode, there's one feeling that keeps coming back to me that hit me is that we are not just uh, adapting to, supporting children with special needs, but at the same time, we also have to adapt to their world to understand how they feel and respect their boundary as well, and not just impose what we want on them. It's not sustainable and healthy for any relationship. So this is what I learned from today. It's a good reminder to me as well. And again, thank you very much, everyone, and thank you, Emma. Again, wish you have a good night sleep later. Also,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.